There's a quiet stirring in the soul when the twin flame journey begins, an inexplicable knowing, a recognition so deep that it transcends logic. It's not just a connection, it's a collision of two energies that were once one. At the heart of this sacred union are two forces, the divine feminine and the divine masculine. These aren't just gendered roles, they are ancient energies that live within us all, regardless of physical form. But in the twin flame dynamic, one often embodies more of the feminine energy, and the other, the masculine. When the divine feminine begins to awaken, it creates a ripple, a deep spiritual vibration that begins to stir the soul of her counterpart. This isn't always a peaceful process. It is often raw, emotional, and deeply transformative. In this narration, we will walk through the journey of the divine feminine's awakening and how that inner transformation becomes the catalyst for her masculine counterpart's awakening. We'll explore how her shift in consciousness, her rising into alignment with her soul, and her reclamation of her sacred power unknowingly, yet powerfully, triggers his own spiritual unraveling. This is not a simple story of love. It is a story of healing, surrender, trust, and deep soul-level evolution. The journey isn't linear. It is full of chaos and clarity, retreat and return, resistance and revelation. But at the center of it all is an undeniable truth. The divine feminine, in her awakening, becomes the lighthouse that calls her masculine counterpart home, not to her, but to himself. Let's walk through this path step by step and truly understand the sacred dance of energies that unfold when she awakens. Number 1, the divine feminine awakens to herself. The awakening of the divine feminine often begins in silence. There's usually no big event, no booming voice from the heavens. Instead, it starts as a whisper. Something deep inside her soul begins to question, to seek, to yearn. She might not even realize what's happening at first. It might feel like restlessness, dissatisfaction with what once brought her comfort, or a sudden desire to change everything. Relationships, jobs, habits, even old beliefs start to feel too small for the vastness she is beginning to sense within herself. This is the beginning of her spiritual remembrance. Her soul starts to call her inward. She becomes more sensitive, more intuitive. Her dreams might intensify. Her emotions become waves she can no longer suppress. She feels everything more deeply, both joy and sorrow. This isn't just emotional sensitivity. It is the reawakening of her heart's intelligence, her soul's wisdom. The world starts to feel unfamiliar, as if she's seeing it for the first time through the eyes of truth. As she peels back the layers of who she thought she was, layers shaped by society, conditioning, and fear, she begins to uncover her essence. She learns to trust her inner voice, to reclaim her worth, to honor her feelings as sacred messengers. Her awakening is not about becoming someone new, but about remembering who she's always been beneath the masks. This inner alignment begins to radiate outward. She may begin to speak differently, hold her boundaries with grace, and make choices that reflect her growing sense of inner truth. She no longer needs to chase or prove her value. There is a quiet power that emerges from her, a magnetic energy, a light that begins to shine through her simply because she is being who she truly is. And though she may not know it, this energy, this shift in her vibration, is felt by her masculine counterpart. Not consciously, perhaps, but on a soul level, he senses her movement, and it begins to stir something within him that he may not yet be ready to face. Number 2, the feminine detaches from the illusion of control. One of the most profound shifts in the divine feminine's journey is when she realizes that trying to control the outcome of the connection only leads to suffering. In the early stages, her love for her masculine can be overwhelming. It's a love so deep, so pure, that it often triggers her own wounds, feelings of abandonment, rejection, and unworthiness. These wounds surface not to punish her, but to be healed. And through this process, she often tries to hold on tighter, thinking that if she just loves harder or gives more, the connection will settle into the harmony she longs for. But part of her awakening is the realization that love cannot be forced. Union cannot be manufactured, and healing cannot be rushed. She begins to understand that her twin flame is not here to complete her, but to reflect back the parts of her that need to be seen, loved, and integrated. This realization is painful at first. Letting go of the illusion of control feels like death to the ego, but as she surrenders her grip, she begins to feel something deeper rise within her: peace. It's a different kind of strength, not the strength that fights or chases, but the strength that allows. She stops needing constant reassurance. She stops begging for breadcrumbs. She stops trying to convince someone of her worth because she begins to feel that worth for herself. This detachment is not cold or indifferent. It is loving. It says, I love you, but I love me too. And that energetic shift, when she moves from dependency to sovereignty, is deeply felt by her masculine counterpart. The dynamic begins to change. Her energy no longer chases. It no longer clings. It simply radiates. And this, perhaps more than anything else, triggers the divine masculine. Because when the feminine stops feeding the dynamic from a place of fear or need, he is left alone with his own emotions, his own truth. The space she creates becomes a mirror that he can no longer avoid. Number 3, her inner healing shines a light on his wounds. As the divine feminine continues to heal, she starts to live from a space of authenticity. She may not be fully healed. None of us ever truly are, but she has stepped onto the path of conscious healing. She's willing to face her shadows. She's willing to sit with her pain instead of avoiding it. She learns how to self-soothe, how to nurture her inner child, how to forgive, not just others, but herself. This level of self-awareness is powerful. It's magnetic. It doesn't come from a place of perfection, but from truth. The feminine who once begged for scraps now walks away from anything that dishonors her soul. She doesn't do this out of anger, but out of love, for herself and the sacredness of the connection. She refuses to enable the dynamic by shrinking herself or abandoning her values. This isn't a rebellion. It's a return. And as she does this, something subtle yet profound happens. Her masculine counterpart, who may have been avoiding his own healing, begins to feel exposed, not because she points fingers, but because her healing energy acts as a spotlight. Her inner work becomes a silent invitation to rise. It doesn't force him, but it challenges him. And often, this is where resistance surfaces. The divine masculine may begin to feel triggered, uncomfortable, even angry. Not at her, but at what she represents. Her light touches parts of him he spent years avoiding. Her love, in its purity, brings to the surface the very wounds he thought he could bury forever. His fear of intimacy, his shame, his unworthiness, his guilt. And this can cause him to run, to retreat, to push her away. But even in the distance, even in the silence, he cannot escape what she has awakened in him. The more she chooses healing, the more he is called to confront his own. The soul cannot unsee what it has seen. Her light has stirred his darkness, not to punish him, but to show him what's been keeping him from his own wholeness. Number 4, the feminine rises into her sacred mission. With her heart cracked open and her spirit set free, the divine feminine begins to realize that her life is not solely about union. It's about purpose. The connection was never meant to be her destination. It was the doorway that led her back to herself. As she continues on her journey, she starts to feel a deep pull toward her soul's work. Whether it's creative expression, spiritual teaching, healing, activism, or nurturing her community, she knows she is here to serve something greater than herself. This part of her journey is expansive. Her energy shifts again, from inward healing to outward service. She's no longer preoccupied with what her masculine is or isn't doing. Not because she doesn't care, but because her life is full. Her days are rich with meaning. Her joy becomes self-generated. Her peace becomes non-negotiable. In this phase, she becomes a living embodiment of love, not just in words, but in action. She doesn't chase union because she is union. Her masculine energy within has come into harmony with her feminine. She makes decisions with clarity and confidence. She protects her energy. She stands tall in her truth, even if it means walking alone for a while. This is often the most triggering stage for the masculine, because now her energy is not only healed, it's sovereign. She no longer holds space for immaturity or avoidance. She doesn't try to fix him. She simply walks in her light, and that light becomes unbearable to avoid. He begins to feel the pull, not just toward her, but toward his own mission. Her embodiment of purpose stirs something dormant within him. It challenges him to ask the deeper questions. What am I here for? What is my truth? Why do I keep running from love? And while he may still resist, the seed has been planted. Her rise has become the spark that begins to ignite his own awakening. Number 5. Her surrender activates his soul awakening. There comes a point in the divine feminine's journey where she fully lets go, not just mentally but energetically. She stops waiting, watching, and wondering. She no longer counts the days or analyzes the signs. She releases the outcome, not with bitterness, but with grace. She trusts the journey, she trusts herself, and she trusts the divine timing of the universe. This surrender is sacred. It is the deepest form of love, to love without attachment, to release without resentment, to walk forward without fear. In this space, she becomes truly free. She may still hold deep love for her masculine, but it no longer binds her. It expands her. Her heart remains open, but her focus is forward. She dances with the unknown. She follows her joy. She allows the universe to lead. This is the final and most powerful trigger for the divine masculine. Because now, her energy has become untethered from the dynamic. It's no longer tied to his behavior. It no longer waits for validation or commitment. It simply flows. This absence, this energetic spaciousness, creates a void. And in that void, the masculine begins to feel the absence of her energy in a way he never did before. Not because she left, but because she has become whole within herself. And it is in that absence that he begins to seek the presence of truth within himself. Her surrender opens a portal for his awakening. He may experience deep emotional turmoil, confusion, or longing. His world may begin to crumble. Relationships, beliefs, distractions, everything that once numbed him may start to fall away. And though it may look like chaos, it is actually the beginning of his transformation. Her surrender has become the silent whisper that calls him home, not to her, but to his own divinity. And when he answers that call, when he begins to heal, to awaken, to rise, it is not because she pushed or pulled. It is because she showed him what it means to be free. The path of the divine feminine is not always understood by the world around her. It's quiet at times, invisible even. There are moments she feels unseen, moments she doubts whether her journey is truly making a difference. But the truth is, every inner shift, every act of self-love, every moment of clarity she chooses over chaos, changes the energy of everything around her. She becomes the living expression of transformation. The changes she makes within herself don't only affect her life, they touch every soul connected to her, including the one she shares the deepest bond with. Her masculine counterpart may not always express it. He may not have the words to explain it, but on some level, he feels her strength. He feels her love. He feels the stillness she has built within herself, and it reaches him in ways neither of them fully understand yet. This journey is not about chasing an ending. It's not about fixing what's broken or forcing what isn't ready. It's about becoming whole. It's about remembering your own soul before trying to merge with another. When the feminine truly steps into that space of wholeness, the energy around her rearranges itself. Life opens new doors, synchronicities appear, clarity returns, and often, without even realizing it, she begins to feel fulfilled in ways that have nothing to do with anyone else. The beauty of this path is that it honors time, space, and free will. It allows both the feminine and masculine to grow in their own way. There is no pressure to arrive at a perfect moment. There is just the sacred unfolding of two souls remembering who they are, sometimes together, sometimes apart, but always connected by something deeper than the physical. So, to the divine feminine walking this road, you are not walking in circles. You are not going backwards. You are being led to a deeper version of yourself. Even when things feel still, healing is happening. Even when it feels like nothing is changing, your energy is expanding. And the more you stay rooted in your truth, the more the world around you begins to reflect that truth back to you. Let yourself rest in that knowing. You are not lost. You are not alone. Everything you are becoming is shaping the future in ways you cannot yet see. Keep honoring your heart. Keep showing up for your soul. And trust that what is meant for you will never miss you. This journey is not just about reunion. It's about becoming the fullest expression of who you are. And when you do, you don't just awaken love in another. You awaken love in the world.